Alright guys, so let's talk about She-Hulk. This is your boy Gamelander here, and let's jump right into it. So, if you just watched the season finale for She-Hulk, episode 9. And guys, I have to say there's nothing much to say about it. It's not clever, it's not smart, it's not Deadpool. And it's not to argue that She-Hulk was the first or whatever. They broke the fourth wall in a way that broke their show. You see where Deadpool, where when he breaks the fourth wall, is mocking what's going on screen, but the story still continues. The story still has to happen in Deadpool. It's not a case where he changes the story, warped reality, and all these type of things. The character of Deadpool still exists within the context of the story and the movie while breaking the fourth wall. And oftentimes She-Hulk did that, right? However, when it comes down to the finale, it tripped and Anna. It's so chaotic. And as someone that's not a She-Hulk fan, it's just so weird, because in the context of Deadpool, where he went back in time, killed even the previous version of Deadpool, whatever, it's obvious it was a time traveling device and whatever. So it's kind of making fun of the fact that in a way it kind of exists in the same timeline without existing in the same timeline, kind of thing. So it's kind of that funny gag about it. That's the thing that makes it funny, and it's something that came after they wrapped up the initial story. So it didn't break anything, really and truly. So, but with She-Hulk, they did something that was so, I would say, nonsensical. They treated the story, what was there of a story, so poorly. Like, first, there wasn't that interesting story there. And if you want to compare She-Hulk with Deadpool, again, if you go back even to the first Deadpool movie, right? The story was a revenge story, really and truly. Deadpool wanted revenge on the person that basically turned him into Deadpool, really and truly. So that was the basis of Deadpool, the first one, right? So there is an overlying story to the comedic effects. When Deadpool break the fourth wall, I said, how did you got here, and those type of thing, you really wanted to know, because at the end of the day I thought that happened after the car crash. I don't remember exactly when that scene happened, but it started out, I remember it started out, he jumped down into the car, you have a big fight scene, and then after that, some point after that, you get a flashback to how did things reach here, basically, right? And that's what they did, which still was very interesting. It was a story wrapped up in comedy. With She-Hulk, it did not feel like there was a story. It felt like there was no story, but things were happening. It was alright. So She-Hulk felt like it was a comedy first and story second, while Deadpool felt like it was a story first. You had a story, but then you tried to make that story funny. She-Hulk knows. The She-Hulk team knew the jokes they wanted to make, but not the story they wanted to tell. And to me, that was the crux of the problem of this series. They know the jokes, but don't know the story. And even the fact they say it's a legal comedy, right? There wasn't anything of major in terms of legal. You spend more time out of the court than in the court. It's not like you had an episode that broke it up, that have their time outside the court and you get to know who She-Hulk was. A lot of the episodes spent outside of the court. You didn't see She-Hulk doing any legal work. You see her talking about things that happen, but you didn't see her doing any legal work. And she wasn't even in the context of taking on cases, she wasn't professional. A lot of times she bombards her client, disrespects her client outright about the cases, and every lawyer in the show disrespects their client about the case that the client that they're defending, criticize and disrespects their client. And I believe as a lawyer, that's not something that you should be doing. You should not, no matter how bad the client is, you should not be judging them. You get what I'm saying? Like, so She-Hulk did that, and to be honest, I can't tell you what happened in the episode because it just makes no sense what happened in the episode. Because at that point, you're shown that She-Hulk hasn't. Yeah, throughout this show, you see that she basically had no consequences per se, but now you show that she has the power to warp reality. How does that make sense? You are shown that she has the power not to mock her reality, but to change her reality to what she feels is comfortable. How can a person like that have any adversity in a show context? From now on, it's borderline stupid if She-Hulk has any problems in her life if she gets to season 2, because there's no way in hell you can have a character like this and she has problems. Because you've shown that she has the power to change reality at her will to what she wants it to be. Whereas with Deadpool, no matter what Deadpool does, the reality is not going to change. He makes fun of the reality. He mocks the situation that he's in. He mocks his reality. He doesn't warp his reality to fit what he thinks should be happening. And to me, that's the difference between the Deadpool movies. I'm not talking about a comic book character now, but the movies compared to the She-Hulk series. This makes no sense. You know, written a character that should not be able to face any problems, not from a power dynamic, but from just the way you construct the character, really and truly. Just the way you construct the character. And that's just alright. So another show that does something like this well is Supernatural, where there was a scene, this episode where they teleported them to a different reality where Supernatural was a TV show, and get to meet the writers behind it and those type of things, and get to see the set and those type of things. However, the character's attitude didn't change. It was a ridiculous situation, but the character attitude didn't really change, because to the character, these things are real. Right? To Sam and Dean Winchester, these things are real. And they're just in a reality where this is a show, so no matter what they do, the reality that they live in would never change. Right? So they still have the problems to face. So the crux of the problem is for them to get back to their reality and to solve whatever issue that they were having before they got teleported. And this is the thing with She-Hulk. Writers, in my opinion, are not I think this stems to the wider MCU these days, Phase 4. They seem to not have talented writers. And in some projects you can see that it probably was a directorial issue. Like, there was competent writing, but pacing probably was off, and the direction wasn't done well. You could see that in some projects, but I think with She-Hulk in particular, the writing wasn't well done, wasn't good at all. The pacing was off, and a lot of pointless stuff happened. And I think at this point, Marvel has shown not to care about fans. And I feel like if DC is able to take advantage and get the ducks in order, Marvel will not fail. However, I feel like unless they course correct or try to make the project at least good or decent to watch, they will lose their standing in their superhero film market. And it's just so sad to see a company and a franchise that was something that I look forward to and something that I was really excited about, because as much as I was not aware of She-Hulk in the comics, I knew that she was Bruce's cousin, and I was excited to see how that would fit into the wider MCU. I thought that would be fun, you know? Especially to be a lighter Bruce, I thought it would be a bit fun. But then again, by that time, Mark Ruffalo Hulk was like making jokes and stuff, so I didn't like Professor Hulk overall in MCU, but it is what it is. We're not the great thing, but it was doable. And seeing She-Hulk, seeing Phase 4, I was pretty excited about Phase 4. Seeing Miss Marvel and those stuff, I was excited. Even people were saying that, oh, it's a failed run, it's gonna be trash, because, you know, I was always saying that I see where you can make this good, and I see where you can make it happen. Even with Riri Williams, I see all the ways you can make her happen. And so a lot of ways you can tie her to get inspiration from Tony Stark. I see a lot of ways that character can work in the MCU. And to a degree, I feel like Riri Williams, how I would have written it is not to introduce us yet, but that's a different take, a different story. And if you want to hear how I would have tied Riri Williams into the MCU, you can let me know in the comments down below. But I was excited for Phase 4 and to see how it's turning out. And we have, I think, is one more project in Phase 4 that is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I am not excited for that film. It looks good from trailers, but the way how Marvel has handled their product and projects left me something to be desired. As much as you can criticize DC and HBO and Warner Media, in terms of DC, you could see where in some elements they have tried. Some fall flat, like the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey business, like the first Suicide Squad, but you could see elements that could be a better script in there. And just sad. But this, I can say Marvel had a longer run of good films, yes. And to this, and for that, and the state that is in makes it even more tragic. If it was like DC who was trying to find their footing, I would understand, but you had a streak of good films. You knew what worked, but you decided you no longer cared. But with that said, guys, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment on the video. And see you guys in the next one. Please see you guys in the next one. Peace.